Good. Good afternoon. I'd like to call this Board of Public Safety meeting Wednesday, April 6th at 4 o'clock, second floor of City Hall open. We do have a quorum, and before we deal with our regular business, I would like to introduce Ethan Gaddy. He's here to talk about the street closure for World Bike Day on June 3rd. Initiative with Bike Glens Falls and Glens Falls Hospital. And this wasn't on the agenda, but it was something that was brought up via some emails with Councilman Lapham from the 4th Ward and Complete Streets Initiative. So I thought since we were meeting today that we at least have them come and talk to the board about this process or what they're looking to do. So
Great.
Turn over to you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. So quickly, here today to talk to you about a event that we're proposing for downtown. When I say we, it's Bike Glens Falls, a volunteer group that's proposing a bicycle infrastructure master plan for the city. Basically taking a look at the priorities of residents. So hey, where do we want to get to go biking and what sort of infrastructure we need, whether it be bike lanes or enhanced safety or whatever. So over the past year or so, we've worked together with different residents and volunteers to establish a set of priority routes, and we're about ready to release a draft master plan for the city, and that would go in front of the council for their review and ultimate endorsement, and that would help guide the development of bike infrastructure in the city going forward. But to do that, we realized that June 3rd is World Bike Day. That seemed like a good opportunity to have a public event to launch the draft plan. And it just so happens that Glens Falls Hospital, the Health Promotion Center, they have a grant that they've been working on for a few years in which, their objective is to do projects within the municipality that do sort of like a demonstration project for active transportation, healthy transportation. How do we get people out of their cars and moving around? So we thought this was a good opportunity to say, here's the bike master plan, release that to the public, and then partner with Glens Falls Hospital to do a demonstration project of complete streets, which are roadways that are designed for pedestrians, bicyclists, and everyone really, people with disabilities. The project would be to take a section of the city street and use some temporary installments, whether it's some tape, some bollards, some hay bales, temporary signs, and to install things like bike lanes, improved crosswalks, enhanced signage, just a standard suite of options that would demonstrate to residents and other people what a really safe section of roadway looks like. So here today with John to sort of just introduce this idea to everyone. One of the things that we came upon was the Universal Event Application, which is a 3-page standard document for anyone trying to hold an event in the city. And part of that says we need insurance for it. And we sort of hit the stumbling block. We said, oh, well, we want to hold this event. We presented the Common Council before about Bike Glens Falls, but we don't have insurance. We're a group of volunteers. And Glens Falls Hospital may or may not be able to do this. We're hoping that the city would say, all right, this seems like a pretty legitimate idea. We support the idea of safe biking and walking, and we could find a way to navigate the insurance process, whether this become an official city project that we help organize, facilitate, and run, so that we can maybe fall under the city's insurance. I'm not a municipal attorney, so I don't know the nuts and bolts of this, but I do know I don't have insurance for an event like this.
So that's one of the reasons why he's here, and for me bringing him here is I need your sage wisdom as commissioners on how we could proceed, because it's been a long time since I've done this for you guys, with you guys. So is it always standard practice that we have insurance when we're closing? Okay.
Absolutely, provided by you,
So that,
not us.
Yeah.
so that if volunteers or one of the bikers, God forbid, got injured,
Yep.
then the insurance covers that. The city of Glens Falls is not going to then be liable for it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that all makes sense that there have to be insurance coverage somewhere. I'm just wondering, are there examples of how we provide this insurance, or any preferred vendors that you could identify that would sort of make this project happen. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think we can even do it if we don't.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm confused. You're presenting a master plan, is it on a biking or a walking or both?
It would be for biking. So
For biking?
Yeah. So
Nothing to do with walking, you did refer to walking.
Yeah. So a complete street is a street that's designed for cars, biking, and walking. So we thought it would be. It sort of fit within the program, and John is going to actually meet with the city later in April to talk about his program, because it's a multi-year. There'll be ongoing amount of funding that he can spend on projects in the city for bike and pedestrian projects. The bicycle master plan is just for bikes.
And that's what you're here for June 3rd?
Yes, but on June 3rd, the demonstration project would include safety enhancements, temporary safety enhancements that would show what a complete street would look like. So that would include both pedestrian and bicycling infrastructure.
I think you gotta coordinate too with the police
Police
department.
department,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is early steps. So yeah, we still
This
reached
is-
out to Amy Collins, and so we're trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of it, because June 3rd is coming up, and we just
There's some logistical questions.
yeah,
regarding
exactly.
this.
We're here to work it out.
Well,
and
that's
figure it
why-
out.
Yeah, what would that,
General
what does
liability,
a,
right?
I would think
I
so.
would think it's,
Yeah.
are you a corporation or?
No, we're just volunteer. I mean, basically, we're just volunteers working on a
Mayor?
policy document for the city.
what would the common council do?
We would always look to you guys to make a recommendation.
hope,
When it
yeah.
comes to, when something like this comes to us, it's usually vetted by you guys,
Yeah.
and that we,
Yes, and
Yeah,
then
that's
to
all.
that
you.
we,
Well,
He's got a lot
I have a
of legwork to
suggestion.
do. Really, the
Yes.
first thing is you gotta be covered.
As far as insurance,
Yeah.
we
This-
have some very good insurance companies that I'm sure could possibly consider.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't recommend anybody.
No, we can't, there's several in the city.
are
Yeah,
you an
some of
official
those-
501c3?
No, I mean, really, the objective was to, help the city develop this document so that they could capture more grant funding and start meeting some of their goals.
Alright, so so A is, if we go forward with this, we either A, have to see if the hospital could provide a certificate it's coming back to me, certificate insurance naming us as an additional insured, or we as a city, and maybe, John, this is something you could talk to with the mayor when you have your meeting, is if we sponsor the event, and then it's our event with cooperation from the hospital and you guys.
Right.
So,
That, something through the collaborative?
I don't know, I mean, we know we have to have some coverage
I think our time is running out. I think it would be something better to be, I would listen to what Mr. Seidel had to say first. I'm sorry.
Right.
Why don't you do that first?
Okay, well, I deal with the problems that arise from this type of thing, lawsuits and insurance claims. And if we're going to put some pylons and markers up in a street for a day, is that the plan? One day?
Yeah, temporary installation.
And you don't have insurance to cover us, then we're going naked and we're exposing our own insurance. But, we're a city, we do that all the time. We can stick our neck out to that extent, in my opinion. If we can get the hospital to add us on, since they may be a sponsor of the project, that's nice too. But my thinking is it's not gonna kill the city of Glens Falls to be exposed to the possibility that somebody's gonna run over a pylon or a volunteer or wreck their car and then get mad at the city and sue the city.
I don't understand, is this just one day during the year? Or
Yeah.
is this,
Yeah, it
if
would
you
be,
were doing something like we have on, by the hospital there,
yeah,
what's the street there?
Mohegan?
No,
Broad, or Hudson, excuse me,
Hudson.
yeah,
We've got bike lanes,
yeah,
and we've
yeah.
seen that, I've seen that on the internet,
Right.
cities
Yeah.
do
That
that.
was, that was designed,
Yeah.
that street was designed with a bike.
Right, right.
If you identify streets
Mhm.
that could have a bike lane, rather than get all involved in this and looking at something permanent so they can ride,
Well, that's what they're doing, so
That-
that's what
that's
this
what
group,
I'm
yeah,
thinking.
so that's what
Yeah.
this group has done, this nonprofit.
Yeah.
This volunteer group has identified, they've done surveys,
Yeah.
they've worked together with a bunch of different people to create a draft master plan that they want to present during this World Bike Day, and they, in correlation with this thing that was approved by previous administration called Complete Streets, which is
Okay,
pedestrian, bicycle,
so
vehicle, just a complete street.
if you're
So-
gonna put your name on it, whatever you are. then
Yeah,
you've
so
gotta be
bike,
covered.
so the volunteer group is Bike Glens Falls, and really the purpose of the project is a demonstration project with temporary, temporary installation to show residents, elected officials and other people that, hey, we can have infrastructure that accommodates all these people. It doesn't, the city doesn't fall apart. So yeah, I would assume that there could be some potential risks, like, yeah, so if somebody were to hit a
Well,
temporary
now,
wall or.
perhaps if you're gonna get part of the grant from the hospital for this thing, you might if you have a contact at the hospital, see.
It's right behind you.
John Huggins here.
See what insurance company they use. And
Mhm.
perhaps they could,
Yeah.
they might recommend that to you to see, that, and as like I said, the other insurance, and it might, the rates may vary depending on what company you use, but
Mhm.
the insurance, if the hospital's gotta have insurance, so obviously, if they're gonna give part of their funding for this, perhaps even you might get
Yeah,
them,
that
you
seems
might
pretty
get them to
logical,
even
yeah.
pay for the insurance for this, for the one day.
Yeah, that seems pretty logical. I have no idea even what the rough cost would be for insurance.
But what you can do
Yeah.
is just like you were gonna have a bike fest,
Mhm.
okay? It's a one-day thing,
Mhm.
submit a proposal to us, okay? We have the sheets,
The
Yep.
map, a whole
with a
map.
map, with volunteers, coordinate with the fire department, police department, okay? Put that together
Mhm.
before this as a one-day thing.
We
You
have a
still
meeting.
gotta have insurance, so you still.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
just trying to tell
But we
them,
can work through, we've got time to work through that because
Yeah.
we're talking June 3rd. We have
If
another
you
meeting in
get all the
May.
other stuff done,
Get that
we can
done.
approve it, recommend it to common council in the main meeting.
see what it looks like
Right.
before it goes to the council.
Correct.
Come back
Okay,
here
yeah,
with-
yep. Yeah, all right, so we'll have to take a hard look and maybe navigate some other conversations about insurance to see where we are with it. It just, the amount of logistics that go into the pre-planning of an event like this.
Speak.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause essentially too, Glens Falls Hospital would be contracting with another, engineering firm that would provide the design basis for the proposed temporary improvements. So it's not just gonna be some willy-nilly, bike lanes, it would actually be something vetted by a traffic engineer.
Well, we're not implying at all that it's willy-nilly.
Yeah, oh yeah, I know that, I'm just saying the logistic, like, yeah, I'll have to figure out the timing on it
And
on
your,
my end.
your name is Ethan?
Yes,
Ethan.
Gaddy, yeah.
Ethan, I think you're prematurely here.
Well, you
I
just-
do,
Well-
no, if I could please just finish. I think this is a year out. You need to get your ducks in a row. You do not have that. It's not up to us to do that.
Yeah,
It's
sure,
not up
yeah.
to the city of Glens Falls. And I think a precedence would be set if we allowed you to do this without insurance, and God forbid something happened. If they're going to have a bike day, I'm sure next year, and you would have time to get your, I'm sorry for lack of thing to say, get your act together. We have a lot of people who come in and do events in the city, and the insurance is a big thing. I respect completely what you're doing, but I think that you're putting us under the gun right now because you're 8 weeks out, not even really 8 weeks out, and the responsibility is on you.
Right, yes, and that's why, I was invited to this meeting.
That-
Yes,
Um,
and
So yeah,
I appreciate
I'm
it.
not trying to ramrod anything through
No,
the process
no,
here.
no.
I'm trying to be as deliberative as possible.
I mean,
so.
that's my understanding of, we as a board, that's what we're here to do, and.
Yeah, I mean, you're interested in public safety of the city and not
Absolutely.
exposing the city to undue risk. I understand that perspective.
That's
So
my
I want to
opinion on
be clear that I was the one that invited them because again, it's been a long time since I've been at this table and I want to make sure that he has a complete understanding of what he needs to do to have this event. And instead of, you know, back and forth, it's much easier to get it from
Yeah.
the horse's
Yeah.
mouth than
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is to just,
Yeah.
You got the volunteers, map out a course, get the insurance.
Yeah. If
were
you
you
can get
thinking
it
of a
together.
street?
Yeah, I mean, we've been having conversations about this for some time. Yeah, somewhere downtown, you know, whether it be Maple or Bay and Maple, there's a few different routes. Basically, it's any section of roadway in between the two curbs that has enough space to, you know, maintain the on-street parking, possibly narrow a lane of travel, enhance crosswalks, signage, whatever. But yeah, there's plenty of candidate streets downtown. Just a matter of logistics of, you know, which road would be most appropriate in terms of, like, you know, possibly slowing traffic velocity. But the city's no
Keep in
stranger.
mind the circle,
I would encourage you to,
Oh.
keep in mind the circle.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
biggie. And the other monument.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're familiar to, like, you know, take a bite and, you know, taste of North Country. And I think the city's pretty familiar with closing down small sections of streets, but it wouldn't even close down a street as part of the thing too. It's not an actual closure. It would
you
be-
need to be able to speak with the fire chief, the chief of police, the fire chief. The fire trucks need to have access
Yeah.
quickly,
Yep.
quick access. And the police department would have to work with you, but if
Yeah.
you can get it together in the next 4 weeks with an insurance coverage, please come back in May.
Okay, cool.
If not,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Love
that's
to
it, yeah,
see
it's a
you
path
again.
forward, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Maple Street's closed several times a year, I believe.
But with
So-
proper
Yes,
planning.
Yes.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
planning.
that's, yeah, obviously that, the onus would be on us to be organizing and planning for that, which, we've got a lot of legwork done, really, it was like, see the universal event application,
Yeah.
and the insurance had been the sticky wicket, and the primary question we had was, you know, as working as volunteers on an initiative for the city, whether or not the city would consider this as part of one of their, however they cover their own operations, and have their insurance cover this event.
We usually we don't sponsor events. I can't remember us ever sponsoring any of activities, but that's not to say that, you know,
Yeah.
that's not to say that.
Right, yeah, so I figured throw it out there, it seemed like a reasonable fit, because it's not like a for-profit company, we don't have some sort
Right.
of
Well, so
ulterior
we can bring
motives.
this, up, you know, we can chat with the mayor when he gets back, and John, I know, is meeting with him, and so we can certainly, discuss that, but I think we should probably
Robin Hood.
nail the insurance stuff down
Yeah.
before the
Exactly.
26th, because, you know, you're talking a short window of time before the May meeting.
Yeah, I know, it's getting pretty
Who's
close
in
down
charge?
to it,
Bergstrom.
So,
yeah.
all right, so.
Excuse me, Jim?
Yeah.
Who is the gentleman who's the head of the Glens Falls Collaborative right now, Robin?
Robin Barkenhagen.
Barkenhagen.
that was
Do you know
close.
Robin Barkenhagen?
I do, yeah.
You perhaps would speak to him and see if it's something the collaborative would be involved in.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something they would be interested in.
Actually, I just reached out to him on Monday or Tuesday, yeah.
That's actually a good idea.
That is a good idea.
Yeah.
And it
I
wouldn't
mean, I'm
hurt
not
to
shutting
bring-
down the idea of
Yeah,
bringing
yeah.
something to Glens Falls at
And
all,
what-
but we just have to properly do
And
it.
wouldn't
Yeah,
hurt
no,
to bring
absolutely,
the
yeah, that's what I'm
collaborative
hearing.
in, you know, really wouldn't, you know, bring in the collaborative in as well.
Yeah, I mean, that was the idea behind trying to get it set up in advance,
Yeah.
at least a couple months, because we were thinking of having other partners, like,
Right.
Bike Shares expressed interest, and some other, potential community partners to be like, oh yeah, World Bike Day. And who knows, you know, maybe we even shift it where it's not, you know, we could find an alternative location where we can make something else work. But the important part really is, for the purposes of Bike Glens Falls as a group, is, you know, we are gonna advocate for this bicycle master plan at any point earlier this year. At some point, it'd be good to have you all sort of up to speed on what this initiative is.
Yeah.
Be great, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we presented to city council in the past, we have a website, bikeglensfalls.com, but at the end of the day, it will be, you know, the purpose of this document is to have, you know, safer transportation in the city. This isn't just for recreationists, so it very much is a public safety issue. And I'm not gonna get into those details right
No,
now.
that's
We
fine.
can certainly follow up on that, or
Is it like Glens Falls,
but-
Glens Falls spelt out, or G? Great,
bikeglensfalls.com.
thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I'd love to, if anyone has any questions, especially from this group, it'd be great to get, you know, input or just check out what we're up to.
Good,
Please check out their website. They did a really good job with the questionnaire. That was, they have a good social media presence, Instagram,
Yeah,
and, yeah, on Facebook?
a little bit, yeah.
So, it's a good group of, Ethan's a planner.
Good.
So, and there's a couple other planners on this group as well, so.
Great, good,
um,
thank you. I'd be
yeah, you're welcome.
interested to see your,
Yeah.
the master plan when you have it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
It also is important, Ethan, you do reside in the city of Glens Falls.
Yeah.
He is also a resident, so.
Good.
We're very fortunate to have, professionals that are willing to volunteer their time to enhance our community and our city, so thank you for that.
Thank
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
I'm
John.
still
Thank
like
you.
that too.
Thanks.
Cool, awesome, great, thanks.
All right. Okay, so, then, first order of business is resolution approving the minutes of the March 2nd, 2022 meeting, of the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety.
So move.
Is there a second? Commissioner Stedman, all in favor? Any nays, abstentions? All good. All right, next item is request to conduct a 2022 City of Glens Falls and Town of Queensbury Memorial Day Parade and Remembrance Ceremony on May 30th, 2022, in a manner consistent with how the parade has previously been held. See attached. It's the same thing,
Yeah,
so,
Finally back.
yes, thank goodness, so,
Thank
we're, it will
I'll make
be
a
in
motion
thank
to approve.
Commissioner Stebbins,
I'll second.
Commissioner Jenkins, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so, very good. Next item is a request to consider changing the monthly board meeting of the public safety meeting, monthly board of public safety meeting, to the second Wednesday of the given month. This will allow the fire and police chief a larger window of time to complete their monthly reports and offer the board members additional time to study the packet of documentation.
If you have one of the calendars, is there any other organization meeting on the second Wednesday? Is it time slot?
Good question. I don't believe so.
I don't. No, I don't think they would have proposed it.
Is there, and there are no other conflicts, right?
No,
Other meetings, okay.
I don't know.
To change the date of the meeting.
I'll move we do that.
The
I'll second.
Yeah, the second Wednesday of every month.
Commissioner Seidel, Commissioner Jenkins. All right, all in favor?
I-
Aye.
All right, so moved. Very good. Thank you, commissioners. All right. Next item,
Supposed to have William Rowlatt first.
yes, William
I
Walrath,
don't
one
see
sixty-one
him
Base
even
on here.
Street.
No,
Not him, no.
No. So was he on this
he is on
before?
the agenda,
Straight
Yeah.
ahead.
All right.
agenda.
Yeah, no,
Under new
but,
business, he's under new business.
okay, so he had sent a letter.
Yes,
Where was the letter?
I don't have the
Are
letter.
you aware of this, Chief?
yes, he is.
William Allred?
By Jack Hall Plumbing, the parking issue?
So the vehicles are parking there and it's blocking view and the fire hydrant. And he is looking to have, a no parking sign placed there.
If I may,
I don't think you can put one with, you already got a fire. hydrant.
Right, I would
right,
think that would
Do we know who
already.
it is, Chief, that's working up there?
No, we've had a few complaints about it.
I went yesterday, over there to the business, and, they showed me where they've taken, spray paint. They sprayed a red line so many feet from the end, from the fire hydrant. They are aware that there's been an issue, they are aware there's an ongoing,
Concern.
very much a concern and anger amongst the neighbors of this gentleman and the business. And it is a tight fit in that corner. There are a lot of vehicles parked there, a lot of vehicles. And they also own, property on William Street. And, I don't know if push comes to shove, if they could park some of their work vehicles over on William Street overnight or somehow, however they gotta work it. It's a small corner and it's a very small plot of land that they have a lot of vehicles on.
Now, the property they own on William Street, and also the property they own here, they're not actually parking on the street, right, overnight?
There's no overnight parking, no.
Right.
No,
Well,
no, I'm not talking about overnight
Are they
parking.
parking on the sidewalk?
No, they are on the side of the road, they're on the north side of,
And there's a fire hydrant
John
there?
Street. Yes, right on the corner.
And they're
And
parking there?
They had been. They put a red line out there. They said that, and everybody is aware to not block anything.
Has there
There's been
been,
tickets issued.
okay.
The police have been there several times, they indicated.
Who gave them the authority to paint a red line from the fire hydrant
No,
back
it's-
where,
no,
back
not-
where
no,
far it is?
It's not from the fire hydrant. It's a distance from the fire hydrant on the curbing.
That's what I mean, but the
I have no
the red
idea.
line, here's the fire hydrant.
I
The
have
red
no
line
idea.
starts here and goes back so many feet. Who gave me authority
No.
to paint a red line there? I
No,
realize it's a safe, they say, if you can't park past the red line, it's a good safety feature.
but you're
but-
misinterpreting. Here's the fire hydrant. The red line is just right here, a very small red line on the curb that any of those drivers know, do not park past that red line right there. Very small. It's the width of the curb.
Where's the fire hydrant in relation to the red?
Up here, at the corner,
Approximately how many feet, do you know?
at the corner. I'd say 20.
So his letter is, I live at 161 Bay Street, Glens Falls. I'm requesting a no parking sign on the corner of Bay Street and John Street. On several occasions, pulling out from John Street onto Bay, Jack Hall Plumbing and Heating vehicles are parked in front of the fire hydrant and no one can see to enter Bay Street. Also, the company parks on the corner of Bay Street, making it impossible to see any vehicles coming. I feel this is a safety issue and something that should be done to prevent this kind of incident.
I agree that it is a safety, but I don't know what we can do other than make them aware of it.
There's
And
been more than
Well,
one
can't we-
ticket?
Yes.
The tickets
Can't
all
we-
been to the business
Can we
of
legally,
the vehicles?
You'd have to ask them.
legally recommend to the common council, no parking from here to corner and place a no parking sign there, Pat, so that the fire hydrant's clear, corner be clear, you can park up to that sign, but you can't park past that sign. No parking
I
here
would
to
agree to
corner.
that. I think that's, if we could. No
Subject
parking
to
from here
the-
to corner.
Subject to the police department checking it out.
Sure, we'll check it out.
Could you,
If the issue is with the business and the employees parking there,
It's the business vehicles.
so we should start with the business and say, don't park there.
I don't know who receives is it has the business received the tickets that've been issued? Do we know?
That I don't know.
So wouldn't you agree that if the city put a no parking here to corner sign, I've seen other places in the city here, then officially they can't park past that sign, whether it be a personal vehicle or a business vehicle.
Correct.
Nobody could.
And then a ticket could be issued if they, correct.
but if they're already parking in front of the fire hydrant, that is an offense that you can
Right.
write a ticket, an officer can write a ticket for.
Absolutely.
So, I
It
guess,
sounds like they're taking steps by putting the red line there.
Right.
So that the drivers know, don't go past this red line.
but when did he write this? This was on 3/21.
Right.
Chief, could you run the commissioners a report on what activity has been there as far as tickets go, so we can at least see what has been going on there?
Absolutely.
And then the commissioners then can make a determination
Sounds good.
on,
Yeah.
if they wanna recommend to the common council no parking from here to corner sign, or not recommend anything, and then we just do enhanced enforcement in that area until, they understand what's going on. You know, I'm assuming that, and again, you know what assuming is, I'm assuming that the neighbors have communicated with Mr. Hall.
Several
And-
calls.
And that obviously this is not working out, and
Right.
it's a safety issue for people pulling out onto Bay Street from that
Correct.
street.
Well, but also, if I'm listening to Tammy right, she's gone, she said she spoke with the business about, and about the red line, so the business is aware its drivers from that point on, do not park there in front of, past that red line,
Correct.
or however far back it is.
Okay.
So, they now know they can't park
Right.
past that little red thing on the curb.
Right,
So I would presume that the drivers are aware of this now, they're not gonna park there, it caused the business to get a ticket.
sure.
One would hope.
But if there were multiple tickets given,
They're still
and
not
chief
getting
will
them.
research exactly for sure who they were issued to, if in fact, we'll know more at that point. If all three are being issued to the same person or company.
Well, yeah, but say the company has 6 vehicles, we don't know how many they have. If it was 3 different vehicles with 3 different drivers, they got the ticket for the company knows it's liable.
Right, right.
So it's not, it doesn't make any difference, because you didn't ticket the driver, you ticketed the company.
vehicle.
Well, that's why I say it should have stopped at the first violation. Because the owner of the company is responsible for his employees and the vehicles of the company.
I agree. So the company's, if it's 3, 15, or 20 tickets, the company's responsible for the payment of the fines for those tickets.
Correct.
All right, so we can
Do you want to?
table this item and wait till the next meeting, and the chief can provide provide the commissioners with better data to have a discussion, or do you want to move something?
I honestly see no reason why we could not put a no parking from here to corner
Okay,
on that. I don't understand delaying it for 4 weeks. I honestly
Okay,
don't.
all right.
I don't think it's a,
I'm just saying, it's subject to what the police department says. I don't have any problem either, I just wanna make sure we're in control.
Totally.
Well, even though the chief just said though that
Can
no
we do
parking, no parking the corner sign would,
Did he say we can do it?
he said it would be sufficient.
yeah.
But where are we gonna put it?
well, that will have to be figured out.
Well, the DBW would know based on where the other signs are, it's probably 20 foot, 2 car lengths away, so when you get to that sign, you've got enough clear vision
Sure.
on Bay Street in both directions before you
So
pull out.
if I remember his parking lot where his vehicles are, there is a means of egress onto John Street as well as Bay Street.
Correct.
So you could say from the entrance of that lot to Bay
The corner.
Street, to the corner of Bay Street. We'll have to have that as a local law, because it'll need to go in the city code, which would then allow the police department to then issue tickets if someone's.
So you're talking putting it way back.
I mean, I'm looking for a line of demarcation of how far you wanna go back, and there's really no line, you know. it's
Do you know
like-
approximately how far from the egress onto John Street is to the corner?
It's a distance. It's a good distance, I would say.
Because I think if you go back 20 foot from the corner, that's 2 car lengths. That should be more than sufficient.
You'd have to go further than that. The hydrant is 6 foot from the corner. You'd have to go further than that.
I was just gonna ask, cause either the chiefs have any recommendations for,
That's what I'm
The sign
saying.
is, it really doesn't mean, I would say it doesn't really mean much to the part.
What,
Police department for enforcement, because you can't park 20 feet from a corner, you can't park 15 feet from a fire hydrant. So by the time you add that up and you're 35 feet back, you can write a ticket based off of that without even a sign being there. So It really
The
doesn't.
fire hydrant's
That's
right
what I
on the
wanna
corner,
know.
so you can't park,
Right,
you're not supposed to park 15 feet from the fire hydrant.
Correct.
And then if you add more to that, you're not supposed to park, like Chief said, 20 feet from, 20 or it might be city code, it might be 30, from the corner. So that's putting you
Oh, well, now, there's a
way
question.
down the road.
What would keep the fire hydrant clear, if we went one car length past the fire hydrant, I mean, that's 25 foot. There's a 15 foot to fire hydrant, one car length, another 10 foot, another car length, it'd be 25 foot. Then
taking pictures.
then the fire hydrant's clear, if the emergency, if the department has to get in there.
Did good, you went there.
I guess the only thing I'm saying is
You did good.
you can do it, you can actually do it so it's enforceable without making and changing the city law and
Okay.
New York State.
All right,
If you make it the proper distance from the hydrant, then it's enforceable immediately, rather, because it's just giving the people a warning, you can't
Yeah.
park.
Right.
But if there's no, that way you don't have to change the city code, you go
Okay.
through the whole thing where the clerk's gotta petition the city code change.
Right, right,
You
right,
go
right.
and add another section to the city code, which gets confusing over time, where one quick sign that's placed in an area to enforce the current state law would probably accommodate your needs, is all I'm saying.
very good. Well, we appreciate that because that answers a lot of questions.
That's
So we
exactly
don't
what
have
I
to
was
do
saying.
anything
In
and
a
thank
case
you
like
for
that,
that.
then Jim, I would say that if you as the mayor or when the mayor comes back, if they would contact the business owner and remind him that no vehicle can park 15 foot from a fire hydrant. He had to, then he would have to remind his drivers, no matter what, make sure you're no closer than 15 foot to the fire hydrant.
Well, we'll inform him and give him notice that we will be placing a sign 15 feet from the fire
Who
hydrant
you
that
give a notice to?
Mr. Hall, just so he's aware that this is
And I also, we wanna, let Mr. Walrath know
right,
also.
right.
At the same time.
So we will do that and,
I believe there's a motion been made to put the.
I'll make a motion to, accept the no parking sign
From
Here
the
to
advice
corner.
of Chief Schrammel.
and the advice of Chief Schrammel.
15 feet from the fire hydrant, Chief Schrammel?
Yeah, that's what the state.
Okay.
Way back there, hiding.
I believe it's 30.
And that was-
30%.
All right, hold on.
I'm looking at 8,
Yeah,
9.
20 feet from the corner.
According to, two oh eight 16, subsection B, no person shall park a vehicle within 20 feet of any street corner in the city.
Correct,
Great.
yeah.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Awesome. All right, so we will,
So we're
That's-
gonna go 20 feet back,
20 feet.
correct?
No, it's gonna be further than that, because the hydrants.
Because it's got the hydrant
Because
there.
they can't
It's
park
gotta
from
be
the
15
hydrant.
foot from the hydrant.
They can't park from the hydrant to the roadway. because
So it
there's
wouldn't be
no-
a cumulative, it has to be in addition
It's
to,
gonna be 15 feet both sides, which puts you 30 feet total, which means you're 15 feet. out
well,
of
it's
the-
right on the corner.
No, it's about 10, 15 feet away from the corner, which means you can't park there anyway, so it'd be 15 feet the other side.
That's what I was trying to say.
Where the fire hydrant is?
Yep.
I was just there, chief, and
I
not to
just-
argue with you,
well,
but
unless
there's
they moved
this,
it since
the
they-
width of the
unless they
sidewalk.
moved it since they took the Google Earth photo.
All right.
I'm not gonna argue it.
So we can do 30 feet then from the corner. No park, we can put a no parking here from the corner, 30 feet from the corner
On which street?
John.
on John Street.
John
Yeah.
Street.
Yeah, just have another 15 feet east of the hydrant, you're good to go. And you meet the current state law.
But we also, it's a corner, so we have
Well, I'm saying
20.
no parking from here to corner.
That's what I thought, no parking
So
from
if
here
you-
to
That's
corner.
what I wanted to.
If you put the no parking near the corner sign 15 foot away from the fire hydrant on John Street, then you're complying with the
Right.
law for the fire hydrant and you more than meet the requirement
Right.
of here to corner.
Right, all right, so we will do that. So we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, all in favor?
All right,
All right, so moved. Is there any opposition I should ask? Anyone want to abstain? Very good, all right. Zoe, did you get that? All right,
Yeah.
very good, thank you. All right. Okay, keeping Zoe on her toes, that's for sure. All right, so we are at a couple discussion items and want to bring the chief of police up to talk about how the city police department notifies the general public and school system in the event of an active crime situation, what procedures are in place. And chief, if you could.
It was really from Bob Landry. I thought he was going to be here. He was interested in hearing.
Well, no, it's a good discussion to have with some of the activities that have been going on here and how, you know, for us to have an understanding of how the police department communicates with the, you know, various interest groups that could have a concern, so.
So currently, in the event that something like this happens, you're referring to the bank robbery, we contact our SRO, John Norton at the school, who has all the contacts for the rest of the schools. And from there, based on where the incident is occurring, we make a decision as to what we're shutting down. And that occurred during this incident.
In all the schools, we have a Catholic school and we have another school over in the East End.
Correct. If we feel that those schools need to be closed down, we make contact.
Okay, all right. And that's a discussion with just internal discussion, or is that discussion with the administration, schools administrators, or anything
Right,
like?
so we contact John Norton and
Yep.
he contacts the administrator. And
Okay.
they ultimately make the decision if they're gonna shut the school down or
Okay,
do a lockdown
So,
or a lockout.
my only question, Chief, is Abe Wing and St. Mary's aware of how we do this?
Yeah, we would contact them. Yeah,
Okay.
if we thought that they needed to be, going lockdown
Yeah.
or lockout, we would make direct contact with them, let them know what's happening and they can make the decision as to what they wanna do.
Okay.
We're aware of the St. Mary's and we have preschools, we have a lot of the churches in the city that don't have, that aren't part of the school district.
True,
So Eve Wing, St. Mary's, and
daycare,
daycares, various preschools.
So you do
Now,
know,
so in the case of daycare, you or one of your officers would contact that directly?
Correct.
Because John Norton's only got the school district itself.
The school district, yes.
one thing I wasn't aware of when you guys, and by the way, you did a great job on that, in the lockdown, was there's a flashing light on the outside of the school. I guess that's to indicate lockdown, is that what that
To
is?
indicate, it's called a lockout. They instituted a lockout this time, which means no one can come in and no one can leave.
Okay,
Which is different than a lockdown, which would be, or a shelter in place, which would be what the school would do inside. So we're
now,
not-
when is that light activated?
that light's activated when there's a lockout. So
When there's a
people
lockout?
coming to the school
cannot get.
know when they see that light, they can't get in the school.
Yeah, I assume that parents know all this.
There were various forms of means of notification, email, text, things like that. Yes.
Thanks.
I believe Mr. Landry's concern was a daycare was not notified. Somebody was not notified because he called and asked me as a member, and I was under the presumption that, yes, they were, because we have discussed this before. And he indicated that there was not. I too thought he was coming today to address this, but you've assured yet
Do you know what the
again.
name of the daycare was?
I do not. He asked me if I knew whether daycares were notified, and I said, yes, I believe they all are, everybody.
We don't notify everybody, we notify.
In the
not-
area.
Not to cause, not so to cause a mass hysteria, we notify the schools and the daycare.
That's what I'm talking
And the
about, the
churches
schools,
that we feel need to be locked down.
right.
And that's just what happened.
That's what I was referring to,
Sometimes-
everybody was the
I'm
school
trying- 'cause I'm
district.
trying to think
We have
on Broad Street, even on the side street, I've not seen a daycare center, so
No, the only one I could honestly think of is the one on Glen, by, just north of, Sanford Street.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the
there.
only one I could honestly think of, so I don't know
Well, we have several.
what the
We have
concern.
We have one on Broad Street, we have one on South Street. There's a few daycare centers that are
Yeah.
active.
Where's the one on Broad Street, Jim?
The new Broad Street Commons.
Right, down on the bottom floor there.
Okay.
I wish
Right,
he was
right,
here,
oh,
we
yeah,
could,
oh,
we
yes,
could
you're right.
ask him, I don't know that.
But we keep a current list of all the daycare centers and things
I'll
like
tell you,
that.
people were aware of it. You couldn't go down the street,
Mm.
so they knew some of them, that was right out, all the information was up there. Yeah.
All right, any more questions for
No.
the chief?
Make a motion
No,
to
that's good.
approve the presentation by Chief Smith.
Do we have to?
Do we, I
Yeah,
don't think,
I
it's
don't
just a
think we have to,
discussion.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just discussion.
whatever.
All
Okay.
right. So, chief, thank you.
Nope.
So, you can stay right here. Talk your- Oh, you gotta get your full back. So, the next item of business is, discussion of no parking on the west side of LaRose Street. I gave you a handout, so I wanna give you a little history of this. So, when Hudson Headwaters proposed their new facility on, LaRose and Western, during that dialogue, there were some concerns about parking on LaRose Street all day by various staff, patients, whatever. So the former councilman, Scott Endevery, was gonna bring this up and unfortunately ran out of time. So, this was something he wanted to continue. I've consulted with the new councilman of the fourth ward. He's on board with this as well. So you will see, some highlighted sections of LaRose Street. There's currently, no parking on the east side of LaRose already in the city code. There is no parking from 7 to 3, during school months on the west side from Sherman to Carlton. However, there is no parking from Carlton down to Broad Street. So, after some discussions with the former councilman, we thought it would be prudent to continue that 7 to 3 along the west side from Carlton to Sherman, with the fact that, 3 o'clock, the business would still be open, but, people are already gonna be there, staff will be there, things like that. I don't know if this will be, the new building will have an impact on the street, but he would rather be proactive than reactive. Again, we're getting a lot of development around that area, and, more congestion on that street along with.
Sure, the congestion on Winlow Street is gonna be huge with it, once the building's constructed and,
Right.
hopefully they'll have enough parking there for the building.
Right, well, that's the hope, but again, wanting to be proactive instead of reactive is,
Just so I understand, you wanna continue the 7 to 3 from Carlton north to Sherman? From Carlton?
no, that's
But
already
yes.
existing.
That's what I'm saying, you're continuing the 7 to 3.
We're just basically making that whole side 7 to 3, instead of,
The entire west
Are
side,
are
The
you,
entire
you're
west side.
saying the whole side?
yeah, the
7 to
entire
3.
west side, 7 to 3.
And that's not seasonal, that's.
No,
all year
no,
round.
yeah,
that's
that would
gonna
not,
go-
it would be year round, that would be
So you're
seasonal.
saying that would go from, then 7 to 3 would be from Broad Street to Sherman Avenue? Is what they're saying.
Well, we would just do from Carlton to Broad Street, because we already have.
Yeah, it already exists, Barry, there's signs from Carlton to Sherman.
Right,
So we're just going to extend that
We've done a lot of,
without
lot of research on
without
roads.
the June and July is, I think, that Carlton to Sherman. So
Okay.
this will be year round instead of June and July.
Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah, so I'm,
I mean, I don't, you know,
it's, there is going to be a means of egress and, ingress on that street from that property.
are we
And it's
gonna do this now, or are we gonna wait until, if you're gonna have a lot of construction vehicles going in and out of there?
Now, do we know, Jim, if we brought up the common council, would be egress on Rose Street, would there be egress over on the other
Yes,
side,
there'll be-
onto Western Avenue?
Right,
They
right.
made one, they made an egress over there,
Yeah, there'll be two ways to access.
but do we need to do this right now?
I am bringing this forward to you guys at the request of former Councilman Enderberry, if you want to table this, or, I mean,
Well,
there's no action right now,
yeah,
we're just having a discussion,
And
so.
subject to what the board thinks, I would like to see an action plan from H.H. Hudson Headwaters on the available parking.
We could probably provide that to you,
Yeah, I'd like to see,
sure.
what are we up against here?
Yeah, I'll have to pull the planning board stuff for you.
I just don't wanna put the cart in front of the horse here until we've got a better idea, Mike, of the parking that's going to be available, I guess. I don't know if it's gonna make a difference, but
I don't know. I don't think they should park on the
So
roads.
it's certainly gonna increase, I would say, the traffic flow on Rose Street.
yeah, I don't
And-
disagree
and
with this,
more
I'm
so-
just saying
More
that,
so during
you
the
know,
school year.
do we need to shut down the entire length of the street, that's all. Subject to what they tell us over here.
All right, well,
Sure.
we'll pull the minutes from the planning board meetings regarding the plans. And we'll share them with you.
Now, the board knows that that's, technically, I've reviewed the plans, it's not a treatment facility, it's not like 100 Broad Street, it's what they call a PACE facility. So it's like, a nursing home, they're there during the day, and then they go home to their homes at night. So, to have people go in there to be treated, you get injured, or, you know, you hurt your arm, it's what.
So it's not an urgent care.
That's correct.
It's not urgent, there's
It's a
two,
business office, is one part of it, which is their business office, and the other part of it is a PACE care facility. So that's how they're doing it, I don't know how it's gonna, you know, what it'll
Do we
affect.
know how many, well, we don't.
They have a, you know, it's a large facility,
Yeah.
they have, a large parking area, which is supposed to accommodate all the vehicles associated with the facility, according to the planning board. So I don't know if there'll be any bleed over on the street to a high extent, based on the information I've received, but again, that's something the board could look at on their own.
all right, so let me get you that
Do
information.
you think we should look at this?
Yeah, you can look at it, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
if it's on the agenda, I think you have to look at it.
Yeah, let's do that. As long as the board agrees.
All right, so I'll pull that stuff for you, I'll get that information.
I didn't know that, I thought it was gonna be urgent care.
No, so what they're doing at the Broad Street, they're leaving urgent care at Broad
They
Street
are.
and moving the general practice over to the new facility. So Broad Street is only gonna be urgent care, cause you can go see a general practice doctor there still, so they're moving that over to the new space, plus this additional, PACE.
West Mountain is taking up a lot of stuff.
They are, but there's still,
They got that huge, they got a big facility already on, Corinth Road.
Kerry Road, yeah.
yeah, they, continue to, for better or for worse, continue to grow.
And, yeah, and I say, they took over a good sized piece of property on on Western Avenue where they, for pediatrics and stuff.
Yeah, so, yes, they took the old OBGYN office and turned that in, they moved the Queensbury, they outgrew the Queensbury facility, and moved over to Western. So, you know, they're all close by now. All right, so that's why I will, inform the former councilman that this is the direction you guys would like to go for now, and, go from there. Awesome. And the current councilman, I apologize, I will let them both know. So the next item on the agenda is discussion of designated taxi cab stands, parking spots in the central business district. Again, to provide you with some history, this is a carryover from the former council. The taxi cab companies came to the council expressing concern about the rates that are in the city code for taxi cab fares. So we decided to take a look and rehab the whole taxi code. And one of the discussion points was taxi cab stands, that there are none, to be honest with you. And if you look at what I had given you, there's a section in there that talks about the Board of Public Safety making recommendations to the council for taxi cab stand locations. So we did some initial discussions. Again, it's in your handout. On streets that we thought made sense on where taxi cabs stands should go. And within the central business district, we talked about maybe putting them at the end of the streets or beginning of the streets. So again, I wanted to bring this to the Board of Public Safety for their review and offer some thoughts, suggestions. But currently, right now, in the charter, there is no locations for taxi cab stands. So we wanted to provide an opportunity for them.
What does that mean, taxi cab?
It's a parking spot for taxi
Or
cabs.
taxi?
Yeah, only for taxis.
Don't they all go back to the South Street?
Well, that's one of the things we're doing away with, is we are doing away with the offices in the city and are requiring anyone that drives a taxi to have a permit in the city of Glens Falls. So so we're opening up, you know.
So does it matter which taxis park in there?
It first come, first serve, but they need to be registered.
Right.
That's the thing.
They haven't been registered to pass, Jim? I thought the city was already issuing permits.
We are, but it's only for business and for taxis that have a location, a business location in the city of Glens Falls. One of the biggest complaints that the taxi cab companies, again, the taxi cab companies are trying to compete with rideshare businesses.
Yeah.
And so what we thought was, how can we help reduce their expenses, increase their revenues without breaking, without jeopardizing ridership or hurting the most vulnerable people.
Now, would this cover Uber drivers?
No, Uber drivers are covered by the state of New York. So it's only for taxi cabs. And so what we would do is we would take out the requirement for them to have a place in the city of Glens Falls. So then we would register any taxi cab company that decides to do business in the city.
Use the city for revenue.
Right. And then ultimately use the taxi cab parking space to generate revenue for them.
Do we do background checks on the drivers?
Yes,
Who does those? Police department?
the police department does. They come and register with the police department, or right? The clerk's office, and then the police department does the.
Okay,
Yep. So that's,
sounds good.
I'm not looking for, and I want you to take a look at this and gather your thoughts. We still got some work on the council end of things, but this is a component of changing that law.
Okay.
And so I wanted to at least get this in front of you so we can at least, if you guys have thoughts, we would appreciate that. Recommendations, again, maybe you don't want them on all the streets that we threw out there, but, we need your input.
Okay.
All right, so, at some point in time, we'll reach back out to you, or you guys can decide when you wanna let us know.
Now, some of these, you've got numbers next to them, others, there's no numbers at all.
Right, so we thought maybe 2 spots on that street, or, and, you know,
And all it does is we just have one spot, is what you're
Right.
saying, okay.
right, yeah. That was the thought process, but again, we look to you. You are, you know, this is a responsibility that you guys have, and,
This look like-
Handout he
Yeah,
gave us
but-
when we first came in.
Oh, is that thing?
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
So
I
that's
got
the
it.
second handout, that's the second little present I gave you,
This is it.
so. But,
who invited you?
I know, right? He had to go away. You get
I
stuck with me.
apologize.
You get stuck with me, so. But, I'm making you earn your keep. So, so please take a look at that. If you have thoughts, suggestions, you can certainly email me. Mary Gooden is the chair of the Special Projects Committee. She's the Fifth Ward Council. She's taken over my old spot. She's the Fifth Ward Council person, and she is now chair of the Special Projects Committee.
Okay.
So it's Fifth Ward at cityofglensfalls.com. But, so that is, we are actually, our Special Projects Committee is meeting after our council meeting next Tuesday, just to firm up some things, like we have not settled on actual fair prices and things like that.
Okay.
Also, we need to meet with various not-for-profits, because we want to implement a program for our most vulnerable, so they can help afford to pay for this increase in fares.
Give me that was fifthward.com?
Yeah, Fifth Ward.
And fifth is spelled out.
Fifth Ward at the city of Glens Falls.
Oh, I see you, okay.
Yep. We would appreciate your thoughts, your recommendations. Thank you. All right. Thank you for that. All right, so the next item is update on Central Avenue parking and fence issue. I have no idea what this is, and it says here Chris Vanderzee has issued violations, none of which have been responded to.
I just got off the phone with you, I'm gonna give you an update.
We would appreciate that, Chief.
Pretty much exactly what you just said. He's issued violations, and to this point in time, he has not received a response from those violations. So he said he will follow up with, the other gentleman in his office tomorrow, and see where they stand as far as moving it forward. But right now, that's what's been occurring to this point. Everybody knows the one we're talking about, the fence on Central Avenue, it was too close to the road.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Neighborhood home, so that's it. So we're working on it from the code side. Sometimes these things take a little bit of time, and he's on it, and hopefully we'll get it resolved for him.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All right,
May
We
I-
are-
May I back
Yeah,
up just
sure.
for a moment, please? Under new business, we skipped, we did
he's-
new business,
he's
but
going
we,
back to it.
yes, no, we're not, we're on new business, went to old business.
oh, I'm sorry, we
That's
are in
okay.
old business.
New
I-
Did we
I
do
Yeah.
new
apologize.
business?
We just finished new
Oh.
business.
We did. Oh.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Thank you.
I
I
would
just
just
flipped
like
the
to-
page and I did.
That's all right.
That was under old business.
Yes, that was under old business.
December.
I don't, so now we have the chiefs, the,
But I have something I'd
Oh,
like to
yes.
say under new business.
Oh, we
That's-
do. Oh,
That's why I was
you know,
asking.
so you all need to forgive me here, so, all right,
okay.
so do any commissioners have anything to bring up under new business? Oh, Mr. Gerard, oh,
I would like to ask
Yeah, yeah.
one question. I have a question regarding sidewalks. It's getting walking weather again, and people are out walking. Haskell Avenue has been brought to my attention. Someone had asked me about what goes on. It's from Catherine Street south, on the southwest side. Is horrific. And it's before the railroad tracks.
all right,
And,
Catherine Street,
Catherine,
southwest side,
from Catherine
all
Street,
right,
on the southwest side, going south, on the
Yeah.
west side going
yeah,
south.
yeah,
Yes, from Catherine Street to Warren Street. Prior to the railroad tracks. the sidewalk is apparently in dire need of repair. And I was asked is it a city safety, and it's usually goes to the homeowner's responsibility, and
So,
I just don't know what, is that something that building and codes, who would address that if a sidewalk is in deterioration?
Can I say, can I?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
the
please.
DPW's got a 5-year plan now, they're looking at sidewalks, and they've already made a huge master list of sidewalks. I can find out if that's on the list,
Thank you.
probably is, and also went out to the councilmen and council people as well, to go through their wards and identify sidewalks that needed repair and report back. I've had a couple, but I haven't heard about that one yet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. But they're aware of it, and we're getting a lot of that right now, because the winter's over, and people are seeing their sidewalks again, but most of the ones that have, called in, residents, the sidewalk is already on the list, because someone's already identified it, so it's probably there.
Yeah, thank you very much.
so, yeah, to piggyback off what, Chip had said, you know, this administration is putting a premium on sidewalks. We're looking at additional funding for sidewalk infrastructure, and a plan to, as Chip had alluded to do sidewalk repairs. Depending on where it is, it could be, the sidewalks could qualify for community development funds, could qualify for, CHIP funding. So there's different things. There's also the 50-50 program, that where the homeowner would pay for the labor, and we would pay for the concrete. So we're looking at all of that, but please know that it's sidewalks, infrastructure, streets are very important to us. And so that, I know given the Public Works Department Fifth Ward's plan, because I did it when I was the councilman. So, like Chip said, the DPW is going around. We're gonna look at it similar to what we do with our streets.
Great. Thank you.
And but please know that sidewalk infrastructure is very important to us.
Great,
Yeah,
thank
they're
you.
The city repaved all Town Street. It's beautiful now, it's where it used to be. And they paved one, maybe two side streets off Town Street also.
We're getting there. Like, this is not, you know, we have a lot of sidewalks, so it's not gonna happen overnight, but we're deciding on a plan and a premium of, like, all right, you know, obviously we're a walking school district, so, you know, those are areas we're looking at and things like that, so,
Thank you.
but please know that. All right,
Natch.
all right. Mr. Gerard, did you have anything to?
I thought I was on the agenda as per my council person, Mr. Donovan.
Oh. No, but you can be on the agenda.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you.
So you know, I bought a property at 53 Lawrence Street, so you know where that is, across from DeMano's Lunch, so everybody knows where that is. It's on what they call a postage stamp, so there's no parking with it. And I was made aware that, I believe on Ridge Street, there was a similar situation. This was by a local realtor, and the city granted a parking space, I believe on Morgan Avenue, so that they could buy, sales could go through. So I approached the clerk to see if that was available, something I could pay for, or what the parameters were of it, and they said I had to talk to my council person, which I did, and then I believe Ed brought up a council meeting, and he was directed to come here before you guys. It was your purview to address it. So that's what I'm here for. If I had a family of 3 and there's a baby on the way, they have 1 car, and basically what I'm looking for is at 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning is when they would get a $10 ticket if they're parked there. And if it's something that you do grant, which is, I think there was precedent, I would like to pay for it or get one so they didn't have to park wherever they're parking now or move the car.
I have no problem with that, do you?
I don't have any problem with it.
I understand if it snowed or there's plowing,
Right.
all those stipulations, if you want to put on a certain, I can't keep the car there, And they'd have to, you know, get off the streets, like if when a snow emergency, et cetera, is declared.
Now, is there any other place close by you, that piece of property where
Well,
they could park?
There's
Yeah.
Jerry's parking lot, but if you would like to ask Jerry,
No,
I get along very well with Jerry, but
Yeah.
that would be,
Must stay that way.
that would be preferable, but, you know, that,
You know, they don't all park in Jerry's lot either, so I mean, if push came to shove.
I have, excuse me, I have a place, I own a Lawrence Street Tavern, and then between the VFW and my place is, there's 3 spots, but there's a dumpster there too, and if they're in the way of the dumpster, it doesn't,
Right.
you know, so then I gotta wait 2 weeks, so it's, it becomes an issue, but in the winter, they could go there and get it off the street, you know, as far as that goes, but I'm just looking for convenience. They're a young family, and she has a little one and another one on the way with 2 others, so, I'm not sure what they've been doing, but I did tell my partner, my cousin Paul, that we were working on trying to get something like this to see if it would be granted.
Where would you want to have this parking space?
If it could be right in front of 53, their address, that would be the best.
Across from Poopy's?
Yes.
And it would be a,
So you're saying it's on
24/7.
Lawrence Street? Is it gonna be on
It's
Lawrence?
on Lawrence Street, and I want it understood, I'm not looking for that's their spot and nobody going to Jerry's can park there. I'm just looking for at night, they don't get a ticket from the 2 to 6 when they're not supposed to be there. That's what I'm looking for. So during the day, it's open game, that spot's open, anybody can park there and go to Jerry's.
So you're saying 2 AM to 6 AM?
Yes.
Jim, would that city code be changed for that? Is it citywide, 2 to 6?
No, to be honest, so, again, the mayor and I have had discussions about looking at overnight parking in the city in general. But again, we've got so many things on our plate right now, it's just, hasn't been a focus of ours. But we did talk about overnight parking and how maybe we could change it to potentially generate additional revenue for the city. But
Yeah, so-
we haven't delved into it. I remember on the previous council, we had a situation where we granted, because there was literally no parking, over off from Ridge Street, 153, the council granted permission to,
So if we approve this request to common council, then it's up to you to make the final decision.
Sure, and we could massage it to make, if you guys, in general, approve of this, allowing for overnight parking in front of 53 Lawrence Street, the council then can massage it to accommodate various concerns or needs.
I'm not saying I'm against this, but at all. The Ridge Street, was that not for a business? Did
It
we?
was for a homeowner.
That Ridge Street was on a postage stamp lot.
Correct.
Huge house
You tell
with
me.
no parking.
So it was
Right.
Except
for,
there is one spot on the lawn in the front yard.
okay.
That-
So it
that
was,
used by
it was
the-
for business.
It
It
wa-
was not for business.
Well, it was used for, I think, the tenant in
Could
the building,
Yeah.
because there was no parking for the tenant. Now, my memory's not the greatest, so,
Nor is mine.
but, I mean, we can go back and look at that.
Do they have a job, this guy who's ever parking there? Do you know?
He is working, yes.
What does he work during the day?
I think he works during the day because I've seen the vehicle there,
They have one
at
car?
night. Pardon?
They have one car,
Just one car, yeah.
so he works during the day, it's open. He gets off work, Poopy shuts down about 3,
Yeah.
Two.
or early,
Two.
2:30. Lawrence Street's way down there, for the tavern.
Well, that, you know. the
Yeah,
tavern
if-
is open up to sometimes about
He only
4
wants it
o'clock.
for-
Well, you might have, they have that, when he has that thing over there where all the artists
Right.
You know,
Food
food
truck,
trucks
food
and all
truck,
that,
Yeah.
that may, you know, it might.
Yeah, but we're only worried about
I
from
know.
2 to 6,
You
so
might have to
he's
park
on
some
his
other
own.
place.
Yeah, the $10 ticket is the issue. If, you know, if they're there every night and they got a
Yeah,
ticket
adds
every
up.
night, it's expensive. My understanding is there's a cost with it. I've heard as much
Right.
as $180 for the year, which would be 18 tickets. So that's better than 365.
Mm,
What happens when it snows?
yeah.
In the snows, they would get ticketed or towed or whatever
He's
whatever
gotta move.
parameters that you would put on.
Well, we would have to put something in that, that's what I'm saying, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't.
'Cause that's
Either the
good to
chiefs,
know.
do you guys have any thoughts, I mean, while we're, anything?
Currently, what's in the city code is what we enforce from the
2 to 6.
times. But it seems like you started the precedence with the Ridge Street property.
I think we did,
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
obviously.
Now, did you
So-
say, you'd be paying for the license for this or whatever? When you first, in your presentation?
I would be willing to do that, but my cousin probably won't, and he'll negotiate with the people. But it would get purchased one way or another. Maybe we'd split it, but to help them out. They were aware that there wasn't parking, it's,
That
you know,
153
but it,
had a parking spot on Morgan. That's what they went for.
Right, we
Yes,
put it
the
on
Morgan. I knew it was on Morgan
We put it on
Street,
Morgan
yeah.
Street. Right,
So, why don't we try to come up with something for Dan?
I'd make a motion that we allow one car parking in front of 53 Lawrence from 2 AM to 6 AM without issuance of a ticket, except during a snow emergency.
Inclement
And
weather.
when they would have to physically, they have to move the car.
That's fair.
Well,
it
there's
it
more-
doesn't even have to be a snow emergency. Anytime it snows, they gotta plow.
Yeah,
They should not have the
and then
car.
there's street cleaning. There's a lot of reasons why we don't want cars parked overnight.
The street cleaning, does not happen from 2 to 6 in the
No, it
morning.
doesn't.
I know.
It might have when we were younger, but
During
it
the
doesn't
day.
anymore.
I understand, but my point is, if people believe they can park, then the car sits there. And
The
interferes with
cars do
street
sit
cleaning.
there when Jerry DeMonto opens, there's a car parked there. That business is afforded, matter of fact, that business is afforded to plow the snow over on my side, so there's even less parking there. But, I have no complaints with Jerry DeMonto and his business, but I have a business across the street.
Mhm.
I'm just looking that they don't get $10. All Jerry's customers park for free on both sides of the street during snow days. I'm just
Well,
looking for the same
Instead of saying
consideration.
snow emergency, just snow days. period.
Snow days, yes. When a plow has to go out, I don't want the car to be in the way, I understand that, no one does.
I'll second that motion with the approval of the common council
that's all right.
adjusting to the same as which was afforded.
Just a quick
Morgan Street.
recommendation, and just talking to the chief back here, if you guys are allowing this, it's not a bad thing, but you probably should have part of the application process when they pay their fee, there should be information on contact information, who owns a permit, so if there is an issue, you have somebody to contact, because down the road, you won't have to contact. So I'm just saying that it's part of the process, maybe that would alleviate some of the concerns of the board, that if something's not being done right, at least they can reach out to somebody and say, hey, this is something that should change.
I know we issue parking permits, I haven't seen the application since we created parking permits when I was with Mayor Regan's administration. So I'm not sure what is,
I do agree with Chief Schrammel. I think that's a wonderful idea to have contact information. I also think if it is a landlord situation, that not only the person whose vehicle it is, but the landlord's information as well, that we could reach out and contact.
yeah, I would think would be the landlord's responsibility too, yeah, all right. So, okay, well, we have a motion, we can certainly, I mean, they're gonna have to put the application in anyways. We'll have to get the application and stuff, so we have a motion by Commissioner Cronkite, we have a second by Commissioner Alden. All in favor?
I,
All
Against.
opposed? All right, one opposed, any abstentions? Commissioner Seidel. All right. So we'll move this up to the common council for consideration, and we'll make sure that you know, Zoe, if you can get that resolution to us so we can look at that, and I'll pull the application too. Chip, can you pull that, or can you get the parking permit application so we can take a look at that? All right.
But it will be with the stipulations that we recommend, correct?
Right, so that would be part of it, and
Okay.
if there's anything else we need to add to it, we can do that as well.
Okay.
So,
All set?
Yeah.
Thank you.
all right,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome, thank you.
so much.
All right,
Thanks, Ed.
so we're back on police report.
Sure.
Chief
Sure.
Trim, I've got Chief
Oh,
Smith here. Chief Smith, would you like to present your report, please? Or actually, let's reverse it, since we're gonna have to go into executive session.
Going to executive session also.
Oh, okay, well then, come on board. I only have, okay, very good.
So in my general report, I don't have much. This would have been under old business, but I'll just cover it real quick because I met with Aaron Frankenfeld, the assistant chief, and I did today. He's the director of the Adirondack and Glens Falls Transportation Council. In previous meetings, the crossing and the intersection at Glen Street and Stanford Street were brought up as a safety issue. Mayor Collins reached out to the council, and they're gonna go ahead and do a study on that intersection for us, so they're gonna move forward with that. And then any recommendations that they come up with, we will move forward with making that intersection safer. Any questions on it?
No,
And that's all I had, unless anyone had any questions on my general report.
I just have one, chief.
Yes, sir.
Last meeting, I asked for the summary caseload for each investigator, detective, when you get a chance. Could
Mhm.
you know, on a monthly basis, I'd like to see what the caseload is per guy.
So I looked into that, so we printed up all the cases that were, new cases that were for March. The issue with printing out,
This,
No.
that's part of the regular detective report.
yeah,
I included all the cases that came in March.
Case index report.
Detective, this report.
The issue with printing the workload for every detective that they have, they have notes in there, and these are open investigations that we're not gonna be releasing to the public. So, that's just the way the system works. So, I printed out all these, so if you wanted to look through those to see what new cases came in for March, you'd be able to do that.
well, how are these cases assigned?
Every case that comes through to the police department, if it becomes a detective case,
Yeah,
it then goes to our detective lieutenant,
yeah,
and then our detective lieutenant divvies up those cases
okay.
per all the detectives that we have.
But does he keep a running accounting for each detective on the cases that they're handling,
Correct.
pending and closed?
Correct.
That's the only, I'm not looking for case data,
Okay.
I'm only looking for the number. Open cases, pending, you know, what is his
Yeah,
caseload?
I think that's included in the detective summary, detective division summary.
We've got a complete list of cases, depending on what category they are. For those of majority, but not a complete list of cases, that was sent to detectives, or assisted by the detective division the month of March. Now, if I understand Bob correctly, he's saying, okay, we got 4 detectives and the detective lieutenant. Each detective gets so many cases. Now, how does he divvy it up? If this is it like a round robin thing where the one with the least amount of cases gets the next case that comes in?
No, not necessarily, because our detective division is so diverse in what they do. Some of them handle certain cases, some of them are better at certain cases. But typically, because our detective division is so small, every single detective is having their hands in these cases as the cases come in. It just specifically gets assigned, so it's accountable to a detective. That's basically what the workload system's for. And then the issue is with closed cases and open cases, we could have a case from 2017 that gets closed, this month, and that's gonna count as a closed case. So, just the way that our system works and the way the detective division works all together in what they're doing, it really doesn't matter how many cases one detective has or the other detective, it just kinda gets put there as an accountability thing. So there's someone's assigned to it and responsible, but they're all working all the cases all the time together, so it's a collaborative effort.
Okay,
Does that, Commissioner, answer your question?
that's fine. That's fine,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Any other questions for the chief?
No.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you, chief.
Well, thank you.
All right,
And I do have to go into executive.
yes, we will. Chief Schrammel's up next.
We have to pass this.
Oh, we have to do that, all right.
Make a motion to approve the chief's.
All right.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Slidell, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved.
Everybody knows how we're still short fire firefighters, just bring that up again. We held a, entrance exam, actually two of them, one for paramedics and one for paramedic trainees. It was held on March 19th. Hopefully, we had a good turnout. I think they said there was around 20. She didn't give me an exact number, but that's not too bad. I believe most of them were in the training part, which is gonna take a little bit of work to try to figure out when to hire and make sure we can get them through all the training required to do in 3 years. That's something we'll have to work on as we get the names, who passed. We also were able to recanvass, I remember when we talked about this before, we were able to recanvass that old list for not only paramedics, but we were able to recanvass it for EMTs. So we invited, there's 5 EMTs eligible, we invited 5 of them to the test. 2 showed up, and neither of them were successful in passing. So we're back down to 0 candidates. So we thought we were gonna have some good luck there, but it didn't work out that way. And the only other thing I had is just trying to keep you guys up to stuff on our vehicles. We do have our engine 1, which is not our newest engine, but the one after. It's just out of service right now with the turbo, so I just got the quote this morning, so that should be back in service within a couple weeks out. So, and that's all I've got.
Thanks, chief.
Any questions, I'll answer them. Other than that, good to go.
All right,
Make a
thank
motion
you.
to approve.
Second.
All right. You guys can fight for it.
Too fast. Used to
All
be
right,
big.
all in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
You
All
didn't
right,
never
great.
give you.
All right, so look, I'm looking for a motion to go into
So
executive
moved.
session to discuss personnel
Second.
matters, police and fire department. Second by, all right, all in favor?
Aye. Take two.
All right, so we've come out of executive session with a motion by Commissioner Alden and, second by Commissioner Cronkite. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, so we have two motions, or two resolutions on the table. I need somebody to move those.
I make a resolution that we hire Damian Duffy provisionally, police officer.
A second.
It'll be conditional. Conditional upon the outcome of a psychological assessment.
Conditional on psych.
I'll
Commissioner
second
Alt,
that.
Commission,
Well,
Well,
Bob,
so
Bob,
I
Bob did.
started it.
all right, okay, all right. Okay, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? All right, good, very good. So we have a second, motion, or resolution on the table.
Right.
And I
Make a
need-
motion, we appoint Ryan Padone, provisional sergeant,
Yes.
effective,
Oh, we need an effective date for the
I
other
don't
one
know.
too, right? No. Do we need an effective date?
No, we don't, because still gotta go through provisional. So we're looking for an effective date?
yeah,
Mhm.
could be approximately,
The tenth.
The 10th,
April tenth,
April tenth, yes.
4/10?
so I may be.
Okay, Commissioner Stedman made the motion, I need
I'll
a second.
second it.
Commissioner Seidel, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
I'll make a motion to
So-
adjourn.
all right,
Second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.